Welcome to Animals Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin McKenzie. And very excited to have a couple of guests with me here today. I've got Nick Mastromarco, Managing Director, North American Retail Payments with BMO. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you here on the program.
Pleasure to be here.
And also with me, Mike Schweitzer, Vice President, Partner Relationships with ChangeIt. How are you?
ChangeIt, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent to have you both here today. We're going to do the podcast. We're here talking. This broadcast is going to go live on air on December the 1st, which will be Giving Tuesday. So rather appropriate to be talking to you gentlemen today. And again, thank you for being here. Mike, I'm going to start with you. If you can explain what ChangeIt is for our listeners who haven't heard of it before. What is ChangeIt and how does it work?
Well, you mean there's listeners that haven't heard of it?
Maybe one.
Okay. It's a good time for us to talk about it then. Yes. You know what? I'll try to explain it in the simplest sense because sometimes we get too complicated. It is round up and donate.
Okay.
So you would say, what is round up and donate? Well, it's every time you use your, in this case, credit card with Bank of Montreal, every purchase you make, whether it's a coffee, whether you're out there buying your groceries or putting gas in your car, that transaction, the amount of that transaction is rounded up for most customers to the next dollar. And all of those roundups throughout the month are accumulated and donated to the customer's charity of choice every month.
How amazing. Making it easier on people to change the world and make a difference, right?
Right. And you know, I like when I hear people like my kids talking about it. It's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's another way to give, but it's cool.
So, Nick, please explain to me, if you will, what the BMO Ontario SPCA MasterCard is and how that works.
Be happy to. So let me first start by telling you that it's a partnership that was struck 15 years ago. So since 2000, we've been in partnership with Ontario SPCA just to be able to deliver a credit card. So now, like all BMO credit cards, they all come with a reward program of the customer's choice. So in this case, it would be either cashback or air miles, and you get all the perks and privileges of any BMO credit card. In addition to that, there's two things that we add on, actually perhaps three. The first is the unique logo for Ontario SPCA.
Thank you.
The second, very welcome. The second is a unique card design, which actually stands out and serves as a constant reminder for all the locations that card is used in. And perhaps more importantly is, and what makes it truly unique, is that a percentage of all the sales that are conducted on that card are actually delivered back to the Ontario SPCA. And so that's what makes it different from any other credit card that we have out there.
Thank you. And on behalf of all of us at the Ontario SPCA, I can't tell you how impactful it is when a friend in the community and in the corporate community steps forth and backs us the way BMO has with that credit card and dating back over 15 years now. So thank you very much for that. I'm not sure who I should address this to. Maybe both of you can take a shot at answering this. BMO's partnership with ChangeIt was announced, I guess, last year.
That's correct.
So, how does that enhance or influence ChangeIt? I mean, that's a large banking organization, and to have them collaborating with you, I guess I'll start, Mike, with you. How does that must have been exciting for you guys over at ChangeIt?
We still can't get over the excitement, and I say that I don't mean that facetiously. Actually, we talked at the beginning about, you know, this is something that every Canadian needs to know about, the fact that they can round up their purchase transactions and donate that money the way they used to with spare change. Getting that message out to the public is not easy. It can cost a lot of money. It is a very arduous process. One of the best ways is to have wonderful corporate partners out there in the marketplace that stand for what we stand for when it comes to generating these kind of donations. So BMO is a groundbreaker. It was largely due to Nick and his management team that saw the value in this and said, we want to be a part of this. And obviously, if you're a small company trying to make a difference on a big scale, having some of the biggest and most respected companies in Canada working with you is the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Nick, what did you see in ChangeIt, the organization, the leadership? What made BMO and you personally want to jump on board?
the decision was an easy one. It was one of those things where when the concept was first provided, it was deemed to be perfectly on brand. And so, let me explain what that means. So we have a responsibility to the communities in which we live and work, right? And our service is to be able to provide for all the needs of those communities. And so when this opportunity presented itself, we saw this as a terrific opportunity to not only support our customers in their philanthropic endeavors, but also to be able to support the charities themselves. And we understand, especially in times like these, that there are, the need is great. And if there was any way that we'd be able to support, then we would be all in. And this is what this program delivered for us. So we saw the opportunity. We seized the opportunity. We were the first bank to do so. And hopefully not the last, but certainly we wanted to help our customers.
Well, you've just referenced hopefully not the last, and I will say that, Mike, you shared with me when you came in that another bank has jumped on board and added ChangeIt.
Yeah, again, not to diminish the value that BMO has brought to us as groundbreakers, but as of last week, we have added the Royal Bank of Canada as well. So Royal Bank customers, as well as BMO customers, can now round up their credit card transactions and choose the charity they want to support. And when we talk about those donors, so yeah, we're growing, and
That's
we're growing,
great.
and it's very exciting.
Continued success. Now, Nick, I want to. You're sitting here. It's a year later, or after that announcement. You're looking in the rearview mirror. Tell me about the impact. I mean, what kind of a response have you seen by having supported ChangeIt?
So the response was phenomenal. And so let's start from even the first time that we made our announcement public. The receptivity that we received was overwhelmingly large. We had, several hundred people just show up for the announcement party, and so for our actual release. Since then, the outpouring has been great. We've been able to support, thousands of our customers with this endeavor. We've helped them become more philanthropic on their own terms in a safe and secure and easy way. Emphasis on the easy, because it's very easy to use. And again, we've been able to help, many thousands of charities as well. And for the charities especially, this was feedback that we received is that was a very simple and, more importantly, economical way for them to build donations and, perhaps more importantly, a donor base.
Right.
So, and we're measuring this, Kevin, in thousands of customers added, but we talk to these donors as well at ChangeIt because we want to make sure that the relationship is one that is of value to them with the charities, with the financial institutions. We're really pleased. We thought this would be the case, but over 50% of the customers that have enrolled in this program view their financial institution, in this case Bank of Montreal, more favorably than they did before because they're figuring out openly with a product that they use every day what this bank stands for.
Right.
And that's pleasing to us because that creates a loyalty component that is a bonus well above what the charities that we're really working for here are getting out of this.
Yeah, and there's so much data that supports exactly what you just said. I used to be involved in radio broadcasts to raise money for past life, different organization, but so much data would come forth that the listeners of that radio station were more loyal to that radio group because of what you just said, because they showed they cared. So, Nick, you're making it easier for your clients to support charities of choice and make an impact with shopping that they're out there doing anyway, and they don't feel it at the end of the month. That's not something, it's not a huge impact. So on them, on their pocketbook, I'm saying it's not a huge impact, but it's making a massive impact for those charities. So just amazing. Can you quantify this for our listeners? I mean, how much of a difference is ChangeIt making? I mean, how many dollars are raised?
Well, I'm gonna approach that from a big picture point of view. Sure. It's not huge to the individual necessarily. As a matter of fact, the average donor that enrolls their BMO MasterCard is making about 30 transactions in a month. So they would end up donating $15 monthly, maybe $180 in a year. It's a great augmented number for those that are already giving. Remember, this is painless. Once they're enrolled, they just have the knowledge that this is a good thing that's happening, but they don't have much to do. For younger people, this is a great way to start giving. They want to give, they want to participate. So that amount of money is wonderful. But let me throw another number at you. There are roughly 30 million active credit cards in Canada. If we could penetrate 1% of those, and we're on our way, but if we could, 1% of those 300,000 active cards, that unto itself would represent over $54 million annually going to charities. That isn't happening today. We talk about it as small change because it is small change that's creating this, right? A few cents here and there, but it makes a big difference.
Definitely.
Two things I'd like to add to that.
Please.
The first is that the total control still rests with the cardholder. So this isn't something that can, put somebody in financial straits or anything. The control is always with the consumer. And so that's number one, because you pick the roll up, the roundup rather. You choose that dollar amount, and you can even put a monthly maximum, which I think is important. So that's the first thing. The second thing is more around this as a way to augment existing giving. So what we've heard from our customers is that this is the perfect way to augment what they're already doing. And so they have systems in place already through their family, through individuals, through work, to give, and are looking for a way to extricate themselves from the individual asks at the grocer or at the pharmacist or, wherever they happen to be, and somebody's looking for $1.
Right.
And so this kind of replaces that. And now, when they were asked previously to donate, you kind of put your head down, a little bit ashamed. If you don't, you feel, some sense of angst. Well, this replaces that. And so now you can confidently say, I am giving with every transaction. Yeah. And that's something that we've heard loud and clear.
And then let me jump in and say, we're not here to say to the charitable community, hey, we want to take those dollars out of the system. They're effective, they work, but there's something about this. Yes, there is a shame component. Nick said it well, guilt, if you want to call it that. We know that there's the marketplace is a little tired with some of those things. I know the frontline people really don't like them. I mean, the repetition of asking over and over again really does wear on them, and they kind of cringe when these things come out. Great way to raise money, but look at it from the individual. Every time you make that decision, you are helping whatever the charity is, but you get no financial benefit out of that in terms of what is available when you're making charitable contributions, and you may not be aligned strategically or philosophically with the charity. So when you flip around what BMO has done with ChangeIt, you start looking at, well, these customers are going to get a tax receipt for every penny that's contributed. We're going to help them administer that process at the end of the year. So they're doing the financially prudent thing. As a matter of fact, I found it interesting when I got into this business. There's a lot of giving annually in Canada. But less than 23% of Canadian individuals that make a charitable contribution actually claim it on their tax return. There's a big gap there that people could be taking advantage of.
That is a big gap. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk to you. I'm an Air Miles guy. And so there's something I need to talk to you about, and I understand there's something topical. So we will be right back on Animal's Voice podcast. Welcome back to Animal's Voice podcast. We're back with my new friends, Nick Mastromarco from BMO. Thank you for joining us, and Mike Schweitzer from ChangeIt, having a fascinating conversation this afternoon, talking about a lot of different ways that your clients are able to get involved and support organizations of choice. And we certainly hope that the Ontario SPCA is one of those choices for certainly the listeners listening to Animal's Voice podcast. I mentioned before the break that I'm an Air Miles guy. There was a new program announced this year. Nick, I'll start with you. If you can maybe clarify, what is this that now Air Miles users or BMO customers that are using Air Miles are able to do to support charities?
Perfect. So I think the place to start is to say that BMO is one of the largest partners within the Air Miles Coalition, and so the vast majority of Air Miles that are issued to actually BMO customers, and so start from the strength of this ChangeIt program and what we were able to do, and start to change the agenda. And then fast forward into the rewards. And so, rewards are not only something that you redeem for personal behavior, right? So you've earned, now you can reward yourself with, travel or merchandise. Now we've taken it into the realm where you can reward not only yourself, but also, your charities of choice. You can actually use those same points, those air miles actually, and the conversion rate is 95 air miles for every $10, and you're able to make a financial donation essentially to the charity of your choice using air miles.
So
the 95 air miles is all I have to
95
use.
air miles for
that
every
gets me a
$10.
$10 contribution.
That's correct.
That's great.
And the beauty of this again is air miles. Through the help of Bank of Montreal, this all works beautifully from our perspective. Yeah, we are powering the choice and the engine that makes this possible. Yeah. But I like what Nick said the other day. We were talking about this, and he mentioned, it's Christmas time. People want to give. It's that time of year. Mm-hmm. It's tough time still. When they look at their air miles balances, that's a form of cash sitting there. And it's a way for a lot of these customers to look at it and say, wow, I have some money that I could give that doesn't have to come out of my personal budget right now.
Yeah.
I can tell you since we launched this, the response has been great. We get inquiries constantly, even from the charities. How do we let our customers know about this? What can we do? Air Miles is a great brand together with BMO, and we're thrilled to have that as part of what we're doing. And I think there's something else coming, isn't there, Nick?
There is indeed. So on the strength of the receptivity through Air Miles, we have another program called the BMO Rewards program, and we're going to enable the same sort of thing. Customers are going to be able to redeem their BMO Reward points for the charity of their choice through powered by ChangeIt, through ChangeIt.
Wow.
Yeah, and charities like the SPCA should like this because let's talk about Air Miles for a second. BMO has always been extremely philanthropic, and it's a matter of getting that message out to their customer base with a program like ours. But Air Miles has actually created a charity platform division of their company. They are putting the message out there to their card holders that charity is something that matters to us, benevolence, and you can use what you do with us to make those benefits in the marketplace. So I think it's working wonderfully. And when we take a step back, there are actually things happening out there that are creating more opportunities for worthwhile charities to earn or generate more donations. That's amazing.
I'd just like to draw attention again to the BMO Ontario SPCA credit card.
Right.
Yeah. So it is a MasterCard, and it does come with your choice of rewards. And so customers do get rewarded just by using this card on a day-to-day basis for all their transactions. So either Air Miles or cashback. In the instance of customers choosing Air Miles, so they're accumulating a whole set of Air Miles over the course of the year. Not only can they use the points for themselves, but again, in this case, they can choose to become even more philanthropic with their reward points.
And they can enroll that same card in ChangeIt so that each transaction is rounded up to the next dollar.
Absolutely.
Look, it sounds like a lot, but it's simple, it's fun for the customer, and it's not.
It sounds like a lot, but on our end, okay, the nonprofit side, you have to understand, I've been grinning ear to ear throughout a lot of this conversation, and it's because these are relationships and collaborations that are forged that make such a difference in my job. The podcast is something I do here because I like it, but I'm on the fundraising side. So it's tremendous when I see organizations like both of yours that step forward and make such a difference. We have 13 shelters across the province. They are filled with animals that need new homes. These animals have come from perfectly fine homes sometimes. Sometimes they've come from terrible backgrounds. And it's something whereby it costs a lot of money for us to house these animals, to get them healthy. We find these animals in not good shape sometimes. So we nurse them back to health, and we get them in the right headspace to go on to their forever home. And organizations like yours are helping us save more animals. It's making a direct impact on my bottom line, because listen, you know what? The fundraising landscape is one with a lot of competition. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great animal welfare organizations out there. So anytime we can sit at a table with friends like you who are bringing more support, more acknowledgement and information about our organization to your people makes such a difference.
See, Kevin, and that's I'm glad you went there, because for guys like Nick and I, this is what makes it real. Because ultimately, the whole area of fundraising is about the cause, right? It's the charity matters, but it's the cause. It's if I'm giving money to a charity, what cause am I having an effect on? And when you start talking about the animals in the shelters, yeah, we're creating an environment where there's $180 donated by the average customer. That's going to meet a lot of the causes that you guys have. And that makes us feel good. We're doing the right thing, I think.
100%.
It should make you guys feel good. Tell me, talking about feeling good, there are other causes, other charities out there. Why should charities sign up, partner with ChangeIt?
Well, hey, I've heard a lot of different reasons from different areas. I'll give you a few. A couple of large charities have said to us, wow, so the banks are sending this message out, in the case of Bank of Montreal, to their customers. The customers are saying, wow, this makes sense. I'm going to do this. It's kind of cool. And we're getting the money and we've done next to nothing. Sign me up. And I said, yeah, that's what we're saying. Sign you up. Now, it's important to note that when you do join the ChangeIt program as a charity, you get tools from us. Tools that will allow you to, for example, place the fact that you can communicate to your customers that they can donate this way on the website in a way that will make your charity the first one selected. So there's a lot of different things that we offer. More importantly, though, you get a donor as the charity. You get the donor information. It is so challenging for you to build long-term relationships with potential donors if you don't know who they are and where they are. So these donors are consenting, by and large, that, yeah, I would like to have a relationship with this charity. I do have one. I've given here and there, but now the charity has the information. And, it's used to benefit the marketplace, the charity.
Nick, anything you can touch on about why people might want to get involved in this, in giving in this way that we haven't covered already?
I think it just comes back to the point that it's simple, it's easy, and they remain in control. And it's a way just to augment their existing giving. And I think because it's so easy to execute, I think that's what's driving a lot of the receptivity.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, people used to throw their spare change into the box at a lot of these retail outlets. That's gone away. The world has gone electronic. It hasn't passed any of us by. What is interesting about this is it's playing really well with a younger demographic. All the companies are trying to figure out, what are millennials acting like? Well, we figured out, and it's out there. Millennials want to give. They want to help, but they love technology. They're technology savvy. So the replacing of physical change with this concept of virtual spare change really plays. And that's why we think this has legs over the long term.
Nick, I was scanning my email this morning and I saw that the BMO Charitable Giving Survey had come out. We're recording this a little before Giving Tuesday. So can you touch on that? I saw some stats and some data in there that's encouraging and I think exciting, given everything else we've been talking about here today.
Absolutely. So while it's not Giving Tuesday, it is National Philanthropic Day today. Right. And in the spirit of that, we conducted this survey. Survey is the BMO Charitable Giving Survey. The most amazing thing that I read out of it was that Canadians have and will continue to have a long-standing tradition of giving. And so the survey said that 80% of Canadians plan on giving just under $700 again for this year. And while that is terrific, the thing that I wanted to highlight the most is that $700, but through our BMO SPCA credit card, the giving increases. Okay? So just by virtue of the card and customers not even understanding or realizing that they're contributing to the Ontario SPCA every time they use the card.
Right.
And then furthermore, what we were just talking about with ChangeIt further increases that $700 to even higher limits.
So while the results of the charitable giving survey suggest every family or 80% of the
80% of Canadians
are going to, I guess, donate $700 or up to on average.
Yeah, just under. I think it was $694.
So that doesn't take into account BMO MasterCard.
Correct.
Right. The contributions from ChangeIt.
Absolutely.
Air miles contributions that we were talking about earlier. So really, that number is probably quite above.
It's probably the low side.
700.
And that's why we were saying earlier that there is room to create something new, another way, and painless giving, as we like to refer to it. We all know the pain of paying something out, but painless giving is the way to go. Yeah. And people feel good about it because they know they're doing it.
Yeah.
So there's room.
Now, Nick, tell me, how long has BMO been doing this charitable giving survey?
I think we're into our third year now.
Okay.
And the reason why it's so important is because, we like to think that we're making meaningful contributions into the community, and we just need to check that. So, for example, last year alone, The corporate donations totaled in excess of $57 million.
57.
Indeed. And then in addition to that, the employee donations totaled another $26 million. And so that was on behalf of all of our BMO employees, and that may include, those in the U.S. as well. But nonetheless, it's a big number. And so when I say that we're trying to make a meaningful change in the communities in which we live and work, I really do mean that.
You're standing behind that.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I can tell that this matters to both of you. I want to drill down a little bit.
Yeah.
This cause, and talking about the Ontario SPCA, animal welfare, does it resonate with you two individually? Do you have pets at home?
So, yes, indeed. We've, especially my wife's family, has always had pets. Ours, unfortunately, in the last 2 years, we lost ours.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's here's an opportunity for us to restore that. My sons are going to, one's away already, one is leaving, and we're already talking about how to replace them with pets.
Well, let me tell you, I can help you with that, Nick.
Yeah.
Actually, when we leave here, we're going to go for a little walk over to the Provincial Education and Animal Centre. It's our animal centre here in Newmarket, Ontario, where our head office is. And you're going to see dogs, cats, bunnies, maybe a bird or two. I don't know what's over there right now, but lots of animals that need a good home. So those ones may not be there when you're ready. But Nick, you talk to your wife.
Sure.
We exchanged business cards.
We did indeed.
When you're ready, make the trip north of Highway 7 one more time and come and see us up here, all right?
So yes, so the empty nest is going to be scheduled to be replaced by 2 dogs.
Oh, very nice. Congratulations.
I've already been put on notice.
Okay.
That's good.
And Mike, how about you?
Yeah, well, I don't want to regale you with a sad story, but yeah, I had my own dog until 2 years ago, and unfortunately, that those things don't end. They're family members. I mean, they do end. They're family members. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that has happened. My daughter, who graduated Queen's University, is living on her own for the first time and decided with her boyfriend that a dog should be part of their existence. So this has now become topic number 1 for any conversation or text I get from Christy, is about the life with the dog, the getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I'll be, you'll be happy to know it's a rescue that they have, and I'm proud of them. And yeah, this is something that matters to all of us. We think of charity, we think of all the terrible diseases that are out there, but animals, I think I read a great quote once that how a man treats an animal is how a man treats his fellow man. So yeah, this matters to us.
Tremendous. Listen, this broadcast goes live on Giving Tuesday, and I think we've just covered a lot of different ways that people, as they start shopping for the holidays, or continue shopping for the holidays, as it were, can make a real difference. So, Nick Mastromarco from BMO, Mike Schweitzer from ChangeIt, thank you so much for joining me here on Animals Voice Podcast today, and I'd love to have you guys on down the road again. Talk about the continued evolution, so much for the impact both of you make on animal welfare. We appreciate it so much.
Indeed, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the listeners of Animals Voice Podcast as well. Please continue to share our broadcast on social media. This is one we really want you to get out there and tell people about. So click that share button, Facebook, Twitter, however you can, and spread the word about some change that's really making an impact. I'm Kevin McKenzie. You can send me show ideas at kmckenzie@ospca.on.ca. Until next time, we'll see you again.
So parvo is short for parvovirus, and it is just that. It is a virus that affects dogs, and it affects dogs of any age, any breed,